If a driver deliberately rams into a cyclist, running them off the road, causing them severe injuries and lifelong fear of cycling ever again, do you think they deserve a prison sentence? Well, in this video, we're going to discuss exactly such a case that really did go to the Crown Court, and you'll find out whether or not the judge felt that it was worth sending them to prison or not. But first of all, let's take a look at the video. The full link to this video will be linked to Road CC in the description below, as in their website, so you can go and read about it, and for full credit for this video, you can look at it on there. Let's have a look at what happened. I won't be playing all of it, just small snippets so you can see what happened. This is the first interaction. It begins with a close pass. This is the perspective of the cyclist, of course. So straight away, you can see that that was a close pass. If I reduce the speed to quarter speed and come back before that happened, you can watch to see how close that was. You can see here, not even half a meter, let alone 1.5 meters, but let's continue. So it begins with an extremely close pass. Now, the cyclist reportedly tapped on the wing mirror of the vehicle. I'm not sure yet whether it was at this point or later on. Not something that I recommend anybody do, however frustrated you are. I know it's something that many cyclists do to sort of let the car know just how close that they were. But there's more to this video from about this point onwards, so let's watch from here. Just pausing there for another comment, the cyclist shouts, "You're on camera," which is also something I don't recommend. Now, again, a lot of people think that this is a worthwhile thing to do, to tell the vehicle that they're on camera. The reason I don't recommend it is because you don't know what the reaction of that driver is going to be, as turns out to be the case in this video. We've heard of different cases where people have had guns pulled on them, knives pulled on them, they've stopped the vehicle, got out, or in this case, as you'll find out in a moment, rammed them off the road. But let's keep watching. So we skip up ahead. And again, another close pass, this time from the other side, undertaking, the cyclist being in the middle of the road. If we scoot back just a little bit, you can see just how close this pass was. So again, forcing their way through, this driver in front of the cyclist. And let's watch what happens next. I believe it's at that point there, it looks like the cyclist tapped the wing mirror from what I read in the news article. And there you can see the driver deliberately rammed the cyclist off the road. So if we go back once again and play this at a quarter speed, you can see, you can just about see in the bottom left-hand frame of this video that the driver moved over the center lane to knock deliberately this cyclist off, who then landed in the central reservation. Now, what happened here was this reportedly was a mother of 2 children who deliberately drove this vehicle directly at this cyclist in response to the criticism of her driving, close pass, and so on. There were a number of exchanges between the two, the lady in the vehicle sticking up her finger at the cyclist, who then cycled on. Then when coming to a stop, the cyclist was reported to have reached out and banged down on the wing mirror, which again, for these reasons, I don't recommend people do, because it just exacerbates the situation. But then, of course, this lady drove directly into the cyclist, knocking him into the air, falling down onto his back. I'm not going to show the images of the injuries on this video, so it doesn't get flagged, but I will link Road CC's article in the description. Please go and read that, and you can see the injuries there for yourself if you so wish. And this case went to the Crown Court. Now, when appearing for sentencing, the lady admitted to dangerous driving and assault occasioning actual bodily harm. In a statement read out by the prosecutor from the cyclist about the injuries sustained and the psychological issues, the cyclist had said that when he last went out on his bike, he almost had a panic attack and is a lot more nervous even in a car, even when someone else is driving. Not normally a nervous person, but in fact, the fact that she deliberately drove into him made him unable to even take his son out for driving lessons because he's too tense. The bike was also written off, which was worth almost £8,000 and been left unusable. His watch was smashed, which was worth more than £700. They had to cancel a cycling holiday to Mallorca. They were due to go on a few months after this incident. And finally, the cyclist added that this felt like a hate attack on him, as in a hate towards cyclists by this driver, which is something that I've commented on in many other videos. Now, as to the question as to whether or not this driver deserved a prison sentence for this offence. Now, first of all, in mitigation, defence counsel had argued that this act was partially explained by the driver's mental health problems, which included anxiety and depression, and whilst stating that the condition was not an excuse, goes some way to explain why she may have behaved as she did. Commenting for sentence, the learned judge said, "This was a very serious offence indeed. I think the right sentence is 3 to 4 years in prison. It's that serious. Cyclists are vulnerable and it's the court's first duty to protect them." However, considering all of the mitigating circumstances put forward by defence counsel, the judge went on to say, "I'm not going to send you straight to prison. But what you did was to drive your car deliberately at a vulnerable cyclist. He thought he had a broken spine," the judge said, "and as you heard, you've effectively ruined his life. The one thing he really enjoyed was cycling, both to work and socially, and he can't do that now." But then going on to list the reasons for mitigation as to why the judge would suspend the sentence, including, of course, the arguments put forward of mental health issues and a doctor's opinion that she suffered with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, which causes certain outbursts. That will also explain one of the reasons she was also suspended for 2 years from driving. So as to sentence, the judge added to the mitigation, along with the mental health issues, that she had 2 young children, which represents a strong personal mitigation. Of course, if she went to prison, she would not be able to care for those children. As to the incident that happened, the judge concluded that a 2-year prison sentence suspended for 2 years. That means she doesn't go straight to prison. But what it does mean is that if she's back in court for any other offence within that 2 years, she could be sentenced for any new offence together with the activation of this SSO, which is a suspended sentence order, meaning she could go to prison for another offence and the 2 years as has been suspended here. In addition, she will have to spend 30 days working with probation. And of course, I mentioned the 2-year driving ban. When she is to return to driving, she will have to take an extended retest, which are notoriously difficult to get, especially if it's been some time since you've taken your driving test in the first place, in order to get her license back. But this is a real case. Now, there will be many mixed views on this. Many people will feel that it's right that she doesn't go to prison, and many people will feel that it's, as it was described in the news, as a waste of time. Now, just to go some way to explaining why that is not a waste of time, the judge will have weighed all of these mitigating factors together, and a 2-year suspended sentence. This is a full criminal record, which will have to be disclosed in a number of different ways. And if anything else happens within that 2 years, she will, of course, most likely be going to prison. But on the mitigating circumstances, the judge felt that it was not necessary to send her to prison, although I accept that many people will disagree with that. Many people will believe and feel very strongly that she should have gone to prison for this quite heinous offence. So this may very well surprise many of you that she did not go to prison for this offence, despite the fact that she admitted that it was dangerous driving, which is a fairly high threshold to meet, and assault occasioning actual bodily harm. These are very often charged as two separate offences, and of course with the extent of the injuries being quite severe, and as a result of the driving, these two offences go hand in hand. So let me know in the comments whether you think that this was right, whether you believe that somebody should just go straight to prison for an offence as deliberate and as serious as this, or do you think that the suspended sentence orders are a reasonable and proportionate measured sentence sufficient to both punish and deter from further offences? These are, of course, issues that many of you will have different views about. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you are interested in these videos of legal discussion, why not try out one of these videos here and keep watching, because that will help me out. In the meantime, thank you for watching.